All right, good afternoon, fellow lunatics, and a happy Friday to everybody. Happy Friday, Alex. How you doing today?
I am fantastic.
All
It is
right.
Friday. I'm happy to be here, and it's a perfect way to end the week.
Yeah, it definitely is. And we want to give a shout out. It is Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope you guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy some barbecue, some sports, That's what it's about, right?
Right. And go
You
out on the boat, get some fishing
Yeah,
in,
do
drink
whatever
some
you like to
beer if
do,
that's
man.
your thing.
It's your day on Friday, so do what you like to do.
Well, technically, it's your day on Sunday because that's
That
when
is true on Sunday. I'm sorry, Father's Day Sunday.
But
But yeah, it's
I
your
think,
weekend. It's your
yeah,
weekend, man. Do
exactly.
what you
I
want to
think
do.
Father's Day should last from Friday till Sunday.
I agree. 100%. All right, everybody. Just want to point out, Rocky Mountain Sports Report. We got our different social media outlets. We got Facebook. We got Instagram. We got Twitter. And we're on YouTube. So head over to YouTube and click on that subscribe button. Let your friends know. Tell them to join us. We're on a push to reach 1,000 people in our group. So we're at like 906 right now. So help us with that push. All right, everybody. All right. Like to thank our sponsors that help us out. We got Coda Bear Creations. They do t-shirts, hats, water bottles. Like I said before, anything you can put a logo on, Coda Bear Creations can do it for you. So if you're looking for somebody to do that kind of stuff for you, check them out here on Facebook. And then we got Stokedy Fire, the barbecue superstore in Loveland, Colorado. Go to their website, check them out. They got all their products listed on there. Go up to the store up in Loveland. It's up by the Loveland outlets. They carry ribeye, New York steak, flank steak, flat iron, tri-tip, ground beef, short ribs. They got Snake River Farm briskets, Creekstone pork, and Alex's favorite, the Wagyu briskets from Snake River as well. So you
Well,
guys
see,
check them out. Great Father's Day gifts right there. What's that, Alex? Sorry.
I don't know if it's my favorite. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I've heard that it's like one of the most delicious meals you can have. So
Yeah, Wagyu beef is supposed to be really good. I've never had it as well. So, but yeah, hey, we thank these guys, for helping us. If anybody else is interested in advertising with Rocky Mountain Sports Report, reach out to Matt Staffiero and he'll go over the plans that we have available. So, to get you guys some notoriety and some business. July 24th. It's getting close, Alex.
mm-hmm.
Rocky Mountain Sports Report's first live event up at the Stokedy Fire Barbecue Superstore in Loveland, Colorado. So come out and join us. We're going to have samples of food. We're probably going to have a cornhole tournament. Um, you know, there may be other things going on. We can't really tell yet because some of those things are still in the works, but come up and barbecue and sports, nothing better. Unless you want the Trinity and then you throw some beer in there. So, all right. And then, like I mentioned yesterday, next Friday, I'll be out looking for a co host. So, if anybody wants to co host with Alex, reach out to us, let us know. And then the week of July 5th through the 9th, Alex will be in the great Northwest in Portland, Oregon. Is it Portland or Eugene?
I'm going all over Oregon. I'm going all the way from Southern Oregon all the way up. So,
all right. So, he's going to be doing the Oregon Trail. So if anybody wants to co-host with me that week, you just reach out to us as well. All right, let's get on to the show, Alex. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. NBA basketball.
we're starting off strong today.
We are. We moved them up today. I had pretty much said the Bucks were dead. They came out and they made a statement last night. They won that. Final score was 104-89. It was close for a while. It was down to about 5 or 6 points, and then it it just got out of hand. Milwaukee just took over. So, did you see James Hardaway?
You mean James Harden? Yes, I
Harden,
saw.
I mean. I don't know
Yeah,
why I said Hardaway. Did you see him when he got pissed off
I did.
at yeah at the Greek
For his
Freak?
little temper tantrum.
Yeah, because of his how long he was taking with his pre free throw routine.
Yep.
So
I mean, he does take a really long time, but
he
that is also
does, and I thought there
his
was
prerogative.
I thought there was a rule in the NBA that once you stepped up to the line, you only had so long before you shoot it, or is it once they put the ball in your hand?
I think it's once you put the ball in your hand, but I haven't seen that rule
Well,
enforced.
then the refs need to put an end to that. When the guy steps up to the line, you give him the ball. You don't need to let the guy sit there for 15 seconds, going through practice, and then he bricks the shot anyway. So that's what I love. These guys go through all these fancy, routines, and they brick the shot anyway. So hey, you guys got any questions, comments, or anything on NBA basketball, hockey, baseball, football? Send them our way. We want to interact with you guys. That's what makes this show a little more exciting. So also tonight we got the 76ers going to Atlanta. Atlanta's winning 3-2. What do you think tonight? I think Joel Embiid with a knee injury is questionable for tonight.
Yeah, but he'll be playing. He'll
He'll
play.
play. I mean, their
His
season's
season
on
on the
the line.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that he'll be out of the game. Honestly, though, as well as Joel Embiid has played throughout this series, and as well as both teams have really played throughout this series, I look for Trae Young to kind of set the tone early in the game and keep it that way throughout the whole game to close out the series.
Right. Yeah, and I think so too. I think that Atlanta will close this out tonight. So, and then we got another game 6 tonight. Utah traveling to LA to take on the Clippers. The Clippers can close out tonight too, and they proved just 2 nights ago that they can win without Kawhi. What are your thoughts on tonight's game, Alex?
Well, if they want to close out, and they want to end the Utah if they want to end Utah season right now, then they got to do the same thing again. They got to literally mimic that game plan. Let Paul George be your main facilitator. Whatever it is, whether it's scoring, assists, even rebounds. He's got to be the man in charge when it comes to offensive possessions,
Yeah.
because that's going to be your best formula to win, I think. And if they can do it again just as well as they did 2 nights ago, then I'm looking at them closing tonight too.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell, I guess, is going to be a game time decision with some sort of ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think he'll go. I mean, I don't think the Clippers or the Hawks, either one of them, can falter on their home court and allow either one of these teams to get a game 7 on their home court.
Right.
I think that's living dangerously. So I think the Hawks, and it would be their first Eastern Conference Eastern Conference Finals appearance since 2015. And I can't remember when the last time the Clippers advanced to the Western Conference Finals. So, but they're trying to move on so they can face the Suns. So, all right, that is got anything. Oh, one other thing in basketball, and let me know what you think about this. 6 teams already have fired their coaches: Boston, Portland, Indiana, New Orleans, Orlando, and Washington. That's a huge number. That's almost 20% of the teams.
Yep, sure is. But you got to think about all those teams as a whole. Orlando's not a very good team. Washington made the playoffs, but got bounced pretty early. They're just looking for a change of pace and a change of scenery, maybe a little bit more culture. And I think for most of those teams, it would be a right decision.
Right. And this is where established coaching staffs start to worry about, their coaching staff getting poached, for other players. So, all right, we'll move on to NHL hockey now. Tampa Bay went into New York. Sorry for our friends up at K&K Sport in New York. I know they're all Islander fans, but Tampa Bay took a 2-1 series lead with a 2-1 goal. So New York has to tie it up tomorrow. They cannot go back to Tampa down 3-1.
Right. Well, because at that point it'd basically, I mean, everything but finishing the series would be happening. You know,
Right. Yeah. I mean, trying to win 3 games against in a row against the Tampa Bay Lightnings is quite a monumental task.
especially this late in the playoffs when you've already played so many games and you're already pretty worn out. Fatigue is setting in, and
Right.
just things don't usually go your way like that. So,
Yep. And then Vegas, they travel to Montreal for Game 3 tonight. That series is tied 1-1. I think this series between Price and Fleury is whichever goaltender is the hottest is going to win.
mhm.
Is going to win that series. So,
Well, and
but
Fleury's been playing his butt off
oh
recently.
yeah, Fleury has. I mean, he played well against the Avalanche. I know the Avalanche put up some goals in some games, but for the most part, he was outstanding. I think and I he's doing a good job in this series as well. I mean, gave up 4 goals in Game 1. I didn't see it, so I don't know what led to all those goals or whatever. But Fleury and Price are both. Uh, Playing well. And then some other NHL news. Carolina Hurricanes have granted Dougie Hamilton permission to shop himself uh, prior to free agency because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year, and he's one of the top defensemen in the NHL. So this is sort of an unorthodox way of doing this, and I think I don't know if Carolina just doesn't think they're going to be able to pay him enough to keep him. So maybe they're thinking, hey, go find somebody that wants you and we'll orchestrate a trade before free agency happens. And I
Well,
talked
and it
to,
kind of
sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it kind of just seems like they're showing a bit of respect for him and everything that he's done for their organization and how he's played in the recent years. Kind of just giving him an option to go somewhere where he'd be happy and it'd work out for both teams
Yeah, and
or
I
both
talked.
parties, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and I talked to Rocky Mountain Sports Report's Scott Cole about this a little bit today, and I asked him, should the Avs really jump into this? And he's like, we have some pretty physical defensemen. Brynham, he was out, during the playoffs, so we missed him. So he's going to be another asset we have next year. We got Johnson. I don't know if Johnson's going to be on the roster or not. We got Graves who can step up, with another year under his belt. He can step up and become one of those type of defensemen. So, but Scott doesn't think anything is probably going to happen before the expansion draft anyway. So we'll see what happens with this. It'll free agency starts July 28th. I am not sure when the expansion draft is. So
I couldn't tell you.
yeah, me neither. So all right, on to baseball. Your Colorado Rockies, Alex. Dude, what was the 2 games we said start getting ready for the parade?
Hmm.
Now they're at 4 games,
Right.
a 4 game winning streak.
Yep.
This is crazy for these Rockies. You know what? Somebody threw a stat out there, and I think we maybe talked about this the other day. I think the Rockies now are, I think they're 24-15 at home, maybe, and they're 5-27 on the road. It's
Right.
like, how can a team be so bad on the road?
Uh, I couldn't tell you. I mean, that's a big question mark for me. I just don't understand how you can play so well at home. I get it. You're always going to have an advantage at home, but to go out anywhere on the road and play kind of nonchalant baseball, like you don't even care if you're winning, kind of seems like uh, it's just it's an eye opener. It's head scratcher. Anything you want to say about it, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, so see how that goes. I mean, the Rockies won last night, 7-3. Herman Marquez again pitched a great game, 6 innings, 3 hits. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 hit, no runs, two strikeouts and 3 walks. CJ Cron he hammered a grand slam in the first inning to really blow this thing apart, or open right away. So And then here comes our Rockies were up 7-0 at one point, ended up winning the game 7-3. Herman went out, the bullpen comes in, and they bring in Ben Bowden. The guy pitches 2/3 of an inning and gives up 3 runs. Uh, we we have some bullpen issues. Oh, we got a couple comments I'm going to look at here. So Matt chiming in, Rockies and assistant GM John Well have mutually agreed to part ways. Wow, this happened about 10 minutes ago. So thanks for that. And I don't know if this is the start of a shakeup, because I'm sure there's going to be one. It's either going to happen at the All-Star break or it's going to happen at the end of the season. And I think I've said this on every show since we started this on Monday, that Bud Black and his crew are probably done in Colorado. So, and if not, then we don't know what Dick Monfort's thinking down there. So, but thanks for that news, Matt. So, let's talk about a little NFL news. We have former Denver Broncos tight end Jake Butt has been signed with the Chicago Bears. They also signed another tight end today, Tyrone Wheatley Jr. So the Bears are trying to bolster up their thing. But, boy, Jake Butt was snake bit here with injuries, wasn't he?
Yeah, just a bit of bad luck for him. I'm glad he landed somewhere. I'm glad he has a home, and hopefully he can make that place his home, because it's no guarantee that he'll make the 53-man roster. But we can hope, and, it looks pretty good for him. If they're adding 2 tight ends, hopefully he can, work his way up the depth chart, and hopefully he'll have a permanent place in Chicago for the time being.
Right. Now, and Matt, back to the Rockies, says something's got to change, highlighting what we said. They got to win on the road, and this team needs to figure out how to play baseball on the road. I don't know if it's a mental thing with these guys or what. I know pitching and the way balls break and stuff break different at lower elevations than they do up here, and maybe that's given our hitters a lot of problems and also affecting our pitching staff as well. They don't have the same stuff on the road that they have at home. So,
and no disrespect from what you just said, but all the stuff you're naming, those should be, obviously they're factors, but they should be very small factors, if a factor at all, for these professional athletes. Because once again, they are professional athletes. And going into unfamiliar territory on the road, I know it's hard. I know it's tough. And especially when you get later in the season, you get those playoff atmosphere kind of places. But this Rocky team is, far from making the playoffs, obviously. And if they can't figure out how to win on the road right now, while they're not, really in contention for anything special, then they've got some serious problems.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this is a good point. This has the potential to be a great signing for the Bears if Butt can stay healthy, because he does have talent. So it's like Matt said, his body's just failed him to this point, and so hopefully he can get back to a point where he's going to be stronger and he can, he can make it, through a season and be a contributor for the Bears. Broncos 3rd-round draft pick, Baron Browning out of Ohio State. He's missed most of OTAs and mini camp with a lower leg injury. And I think Baron Browning is one. I think he's going to be a steal in the 3rd round, and I think he's going to fit in well to the scheme that Fangio likes to run here. But it's a lower leg injury is what they're calling it. Vic Fangio says, he should be full go for training camp. So, which starts on July 27th. So we're just about 5 weeks away from training camp starting. So,
man, we still got 5 weeks. I've been waiting for this this football season ended.
Well, it's going to be the longest. I guess the good thing is, usually basketball is winding up right now, and I think hockey is, winding up about right now. The good thing is we're going to have those two going on into July, which they normally do not do. So we're going to have that to sort of keep us preoccupied while we're waiting for NFL football to get into full steam with training camps and preseason. So, but I'm definitely excited. That's my number one passion is NFL football and college football. So I'm ready for that. So, all right. Matt's another comment here on the Rockies. Rockies today are an echo of poor recruiting and terrible signings. Murphy, Desmond, too many to name off. You know who else was a terrible signing? And I wouldn't say at the beginning, but he was given a terrible contract, is Nolan Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Rockies had no business entering into a contract like that. We just can't afford that. So, and Matt says bring back football. So,
I
and
agree. I think we should bring back football.
I agree. And well, next year, yeah, I think it's next year. Isn't and Matt, you may know if you do, please chime in. But I believe that next year USFL returns, the United States Football League, which was in existence back in the '80s. You know, and they had a good product. They were going to that they got into trouble because they started signing people to these outlandish contracts, like Steve Young and Herschel Walker just had some crazy contracts with some teams in the USFL. So, and I think poor management like that. But what do you think of the NFL sort of partnering with the USFL and the XFL and bringing them on and having them as developmental leagues where you can send other players?
It's going to do nothing but help each team. You've seen it in the NBA, you see it in the minor leagues of baseball. You even see it in women's basketball. They have developmental leagues, and it's just going to help. It's going to make players better. It's going to have them work harder. It's going to be somewhere where they can learn the speed of the NFL without actually, getting into the NFL.
Well, and I sort of like it because you could almost use it sort of like baseball uses their minor league teams. If you got a player who's struggling, send them down, let them go down there, get like, I don't want to beleaguer this point, but Drew Lock, who has struggled, at times. I'm not going to say he's struggled 100% of the time because he hasn't, but he has struggled at times. And maybe something like that where you go down and you're playing against lesser talent, but you can start to learn and develop and, things like that. Maybe that's good for players that, are right on the edge, to send them down to the minors, we'll call them, and they can get some more development before bringing them up. And then that way you have a pool of players to pick from if you have injuries and stuff like that as well.
Exactly. And that's a great point too. I just think it would be a beneficiary of the NFL to have kind of an outlet for players to go to if, like you said, they're struggling or if they just can't get the hang of the speed of the NFL, the play calling, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And Matt brings up this point. It would take the pressure off QB position. Developmental timetables would shift in favor of depth, more prospects for those key positions. So, I mean, it's like Denver. Denver just got beat up in the secondary last year. And it would have been nice to have, some guys that were down there getting playing time, in a different league to come up and step in. So, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I don't know what the NFL's plans are, if there's been any talk at all about it, but I honestly think that would be pretty cool. So, U.S. Open golf tournament. Right now, the current leader is Richard Bland, and he's at 6 under. The next closest is Russell Henley at 4 under. Brooks Koepka's at 2 under. This morning when I was doing our research, our buddy Bryson DeChambeau was he was teetering on being out of the tournament and missing the cut. He has now battled his way back up, and I'm trying to find him on the leaderboard. He is now sitting in 19th at even par, so he's having a good day. So I don't know if Brooksy got in his head yesterday, and sort of he had a bad round. So, but
Right.
I like Bryson. I hope he makes the cut. It would be nice to see uh, him and Kepka paired together
Yeah. So we
on
can see Happy Gilmore fight.
on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, and Matt, back to this whole developmental league thing. It would support the Peyton philosophy, and that's more darts. And I
Mhm.
agree. You would have your regular. I guess you would make your draft bigger, and you sort of like baseball just has this draft that goes on for 19 days. It seems like.
I
So
mean, I think the draft is already way too long as it is. So I mean,
well, if you're going to build these developmental teams, you would still have to have more draft picks for those and things like that. So.
mhm.
All right, everybody. This has been a fun week, Alex. I enjoy doing the show with you. We just launched it on Monday. We're trying to get into a groove. Our thing here is we want to touch on daily sports news. We don't want it to be focused on just Colorado sports. We want to, touch on the things that are going on in the sporting world. So,
Well, and another big thing is we want to hear from whoever's watching. We want to interact with our fans, and we want to talk to them because without them, we wouldn't have this. So,
yeah,
we just
definitely.
we,
And that's a great point, Alex. That's yeah, it would just be you and I sitting here talking to each other if it wasn't for people that listen and interact with the show. So,
right.
please, please, please keep asking questions. Oh, Matt has a Logan Paul versus Merriweather. The PGA can make serious money on the matchup with Kepka and DeChambeau.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, they can sell tickets for that. They'll have them fight on the 18th green or something. Set
mhm.
up a little boxing ring right off the green and just let those two go. It could be like full contact, anything goes. They can have their golf bags, so they can pull a club out and swing it at each other. Or
They can tag in their caddy if they
yeah,
need to. You know.
tee up a ball and hit it at the other dudes.
One
Yeah,
more basketball note too is I don't know if everyone's heard here yet, but Nikola Jokic has opted out of playing for Serbia in the Olympics this year, saying that he needs his rest after playing basically two back-to-back seasons in the NBA.
right. And there's another thing that I forgot to mention too, and I'm not sure if you've seen this. Matt actually let me know about this. Boston is sending Kemba Walker in their first round pick, which is a 16th pick, uh, and a 2025 second round pick to Oklahoma City for Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a 2023 second round pick. What do you think of that trade? Who
Sounds
do you
like
think who do you think it's a better deal?
OKC. I do.
Okay, so, yeah.
Yeah, I like Al Horford. I think he's a physical player down low.
Well, Al he's leaving. He's going to Boston.
Oh, okay, okay. So,
So
well, then I've got
Horford,
this a little jumbled in my mind. So, I'll take that back, and I think Boston gets the
yeah,
better deal.
and I agree here too. I think OKC fleeced him as well. You're getting Kimball Walker and a first round pick, 16th overall. You know, and then you get, I mean, the 2025 second round pick. Who knows what that's going to be, and I'm sure eventually Boston will just use that as, or Oklahoma City will use that as a bargaining chip in another trade or something like that. So, but yeah, I didn't know you could still trade when the season was still going because we're still technically in the season because we have the playoffs going on.
I think there's some fine lines between like obviously you can't be actually in a season. I mean that would make sense, but you just gotta. There's certain protocol you got to follow and all that stuff.
And Matt does bring up a good point. Al is he's good, but he's getting up there, you know. So I
Some
don't,
teams need, Boston needs that leadership. So
yeah, I don't know what Boston is doing. I think Kemba Walker's been, you know, so I don't know. So, and maybe wonder if it is due to COVID shifting dates. Possibly it is. So, did you see that LeBron James said all these injuries are due to the NBA coming back too fast?
I
Because,
agree.
and I do too. I think these players just did not get a long enough rest.
When you only have one player in the entire NBA play all 72 games, that's your answer for you.
Yeah.
So,
So I know it's normally a long season, but you have a lot of players that play, between 90 and 100% of the games normally, and I bet you if you look at it this year, that number is a lot lower because of conditioning issues, these guys finish and then you just turn them around really quick,
well, and if you look at Brooklyn and the way they did it the smart way, I think. Combined, I think in the regular season, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving were only on the floor for 7 games
right.
during that 72 game period, and now they're
And
still fighting.
together, you mean together as
Yeah,
a trio. So,
yeah, right.
okay.
And now they're still fighting injuries, so that kind of speaks volumes too. So
No, and I think it was, and I think the NBA may have made a mistake by jumping out there. But know what everybody
well, they
says:
had to get it back on their right timetable because
money drives decisions.
well, and so does time. They had to play a season. That
No,
was never a
the,
question. So in order for that to happen and get on track for next year, they had to make it a short off season, a shorter season, and we're facing the repercussions because of that.
yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. This has been the Lunchtime Lunacy Show with Alex and David. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody out there that's a father, have a great Father's Day. Have a good weekend. We will be back Monday at noon. So, everybody have a great weekend. If you have any suggestions what you want us to talk about, hit us up. All right, everybody. We are out of here. Have a great weekend. Peace, all those things. See
Later,
ya.
guys. Have a great weekend.